It's maybe the biggest question we ever ask ourselves, right? For as long as we've been around, we've looked up at the stars or into the unknown and wondered, what happens after we die? Well, today we're going to dive into that, exploring the incredible, fascinating maps of the afterlife created by some of the world's great faiths. For some people, that's it. Lights out. The end of the road. But for literally billions of people around the world, it's not an end at all. It's just a transition, a doorway to whatever comes next. So, what's on the other side? Is it some kind of final exam where your entire life gets graded? Or is it more like a revolving door, just one stop in a huge cosmic cycle, a chance to come back and do it all over again? Or maybe, just maybe, it's a journey back to where it all started, dissolving back into some kind of universal whole. Let's find out. So first up, let's explore the belief systems where life is kind of a one-shot deal. You're on a single straight path from birth to a final permanent judgment that locks in your fate forever. Okay, so in Islam, the journey starts the second you're buried. Your soul enters this in-between state called barzakh, and right away, you're visited by two angels. They ask you three questions, and they are critical. Who is your Lord? What is your religion? And who is your prophet? Now, if you answer correctly, your grave actually expands and a window to paradise opens up. But if you answer incorrectly, the grave crushes you, giving you a horrifying glimpse of hell until the final resurrection. And believe it or not, that's just the warm-up. On the final day of judgment, every human who ever lived is resurrected. Your entire life's deeds, good and bad, get weighed on these giant cosmic scales. You're then handed a book that has recorded everything you've ever done. And then comes the final test. To get to paradise, every single person has to cross the Sirat, a bridge stretched over hell that is described as being thinner than a hair and sharper than a sword. The truly good people fly across. But for others, it's not so easy. Now, what's really fascinating is that this idea of a judgment bridge is ancient. I mean, really ancient. In Zoroastrianism, one of the oldest religions on Earth, the soul waits for 3 days and then comes to the Chinvat Bridge. And there, you're met by your own conscience. For good people, it appears as a beautiful maiden who guides you across a wide, safe bridge. But for the wicked, it's a terrifying hag, and the bridge shrinks to the edge of a blade. But here's the huge difference, the big twist. In Zoroastrianism, their version of hell, the House of Lies, isn't a forever deal. It's temporary. They believe that ultimately good is going to win, evil will be completely destroyed, and every single soul, no matter what, will eventually be purified and saved. And this whole question, is hell eternal, is a major fork in the road for these religions. In Judaism, for instance, their version of hell, called Gehenna, is also seen as temporary. It's more like a spiritual laundromat, a place to get cleansed, with a maximal stay of about 12 months. That is a world away from mainstream Christian and Islamic beliefs, where hell is an eternal, unending separation from God. And even within Christianity, the maps of the afterlife get really different. The Catholic Church has the idea of purgatory, a place where souls who are headed for heaven can be purified first, and prayers from people on earth can actually help speed that up. Orthodox Christianity talks about a 40-day journey for the soul, where it faces a series of challenges at these aerial toll houses. And then most Protestant faiths teach a much more direct route. Based on your faith, you go straight to either heaven or hell. Okay, so we've been talking about one-way streets. But what if death isn't a final destination at all? Let's switch gears completely and step into a world where death is just the end of a chapter, not the end of the book. Welcome to the great cycle of return. In Hinduism, the whole game is built around Samsara. It's this endless loop of birth, life, death, and then rebirth, and the engine that keeps it all turning is karma. Every single thing you do, think, or say creates ripples. Depending on your karma, you could be reborn in one of 14 different realms. Some are heavenly, some are pretty hellish. But here's the absolute key. All of them, even the best heavens, are temporary. So this is the part that can be a little tricky to grasp. The goal isn't just to rack up good karma to get to a better heaven next time. The real, ultimate goal is to get off the ride completely. It's to achieve something called moksha, total liberation from this exhausting cycle of rebirth, and finally, to be at peace. Now, Buddhism came from the same part of the world, and it takes this idea and adds a really mind-bending twist. Hinduism talks about reincarnation. You have an eternal, unchanging soul called the Atman, and it just moves from body to body, kind of like you're changing your clothes. But Buddhism teaches rebirth. It says, hold on, there's no permanent, unchanging soul in the first place. And they have this absolutely brilliant analogy to explain it. Think about using one candle to light another. The second flame exists because of the first one, right? They're connected, but it's not the exact same flame. That's rebirth. Your consciousness, which has been shaped by your karma, carries on into a new life, but it isn't the exact same you. So, if the goal isn't to get your soul to some perfect place, what's the end game? It's nirvana. And nirvana isn't a place at all. It's a state of being. It's when the flame of desire, of suffering, of your very self is completely extinguished. It's not about going somewhere better. It's about ending the journey and finding a peace that's beyond words. Whew. Okay, let's take a breath. We've gone from one-way journeys to endless cycles, from eternal souls to flowing streams of consciousness. These are some profoundly different ways of looking at what comes next. So, after exploring all these different paths, what does it actually look like when you put them all side by side? Let's just break it all down. When you lay it all out like this, a couple of really big patterns just pop right out. You've basically got two major roadmaps. First, you have the linear paths: Islam, Christianity, Zoroastrianism, and Judaism, all centered on one eternal soul trying to reach a final, permanent home. And then you have the cyclical paths of Hinduism and Buddhism, where the whole point isn't to get to paradise, but to achieve total freedom from the cycle itself. It's also pretty wild to see how the idea of a temporary cleansing hell actually shows up in both types of systems. Hey, if you learned something new about these really profound and amazing journeys, do us a quick favor and hit that like button. And make sure you subscribe for more explainers where we break down big topics just like this. You know, we started this whole thing with one simple, universal question. And as we've just seen, humanity has come up with an incredible variety of answers. Whether you're picturing a bridge sharper than a sword, a wheel that never stops spinning, or just the gentle extinguishing of a flame, the details are wildly different. But the one thing that never changes is that deep human need to find meaning when we face our own end. The maps might be different, but the search for what's over the horizon, that's something that connects every single one of us. So as we finish up, I'll leave you with this question. Which one of these journeys was the most surprising to you? Let us know down in the comments. Thanks so much for watching.